In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a bubble map using Google Sheets. So a bubble map looks like this. You've got a circle that is sized based on some numeric value. The area of that circle is equivalent to the numeric value. And that circle is then located in some geographic location, a specific one at a geographic coordinate. So you need a latitude and a longitude to decide where to place that bubble. So for this demonstration, I'm going to use this top 20 cities coastal flooding data. I gathered this data from this European climate data website, Climate Adapt. They had a published report summarizing the top 20 cities that would be impacted by coastal flooding, and it captured information on the exposed population and exposed assets in dollars that would be impacted by coastal flooding. So here's what the data looks like. It's got a variety of columns available to it. For each data row, we have things like the rank, country, what city it is, the exposed current population, but they also project out to 2070 and give you exposed future population. And we've got the latitude and longitude for the center of that city. All right. We also have another sheet. That one focuses on assets, or the value in dollars of exposed assets that would be impacted by coastal flooding. But for our demonstration, we're going to focus on the population. All right, so let's get started. So for this bubble map, like I said, we need to have a numeric value for that bubble area. And so for this, I'm going to use the exposed future population. So the number here in column E. We also need to decide where to place that bubble. So for that, we're going to use the latitude and the longitude columns. Now we've got these other columns out here for the country and city, current population, but we don't actually need those to produce the bubble map. So really I just need columns E through G. So I'm going to click on column E to select that. I'm going to hold Shift on my keyboard because I want to select a range of columns, and I'm going to click on column G. So I've selected that range. This is what I want to use to create the bubble map. So I'm ready to add my chart. I'm going to go under the Insert menu and click Chart. All right. So I've got a chart in there, definitely not what I'm looking for. I want that bubble map. So I'm going to go over here into my chart editor, which opened automatically. I'm going to go under chart types and scroll down. They've got two map types. I want to focus on, they call it GeoChart with markers. I like to call it a bubble map. So I'm going to click on that. All right, so it's switched to a map, world map we can see here, but I don't see any data on it, so let's see what we can do about that. All right, so I can see here in the setup for this chart, my latitude is currently my exposed future population. My data definitely has labels in row 1 for each of my values. I'm going to click the use row 1 as header. So that's not actually a piece of data, that's my column labels. Latitude obviously shouldn't be population, future population. Let's switch that to the latitude column. Oh, we can see we're starting to get stuff showing up. Still doesn't look quite right though. Longitude should be longitude. And here's a exposed population. So that's the color. All right. So it looks like the map is, the bubble map supports having a color, but also having a size. So we're going to use both color and size to represent exposed future population. This is something we'd call double encoding. So it can really help visually drive home a particular variable by having both the color and the size represent that numeric value. All right, that's starting to look pretty good. I'm going to move this to its own sheet so it can take up the full screen. All right, so this is looking pretty good. I can now see the distribution of those top 20 cities. And remember, the numeric value represented here is the exposed future population in 2070. So you always want to keep in mind what that numeric value represents. Now we can see the color currently ranges from red through white to green. So that color range doesn't really make sense for this numeric value, right? We've got population. And so to have it be a color spectrum which is kind of split in the center between two different colors doesn't make sense, because I've got one continuous variable that's moving up from a theoretical minimum of 0 up to some much larger number. So I'm going to edit this chart and try and use some better practices with my color. I'm going to go under Customize, and I'm looking for where I can modify the color attributes. Okay, so here we go. I've got some options where I can decide what region of the world I want my map to focus on. And then I've got options for color here. So this says min, mid, max, and no value. So what I want to do here is change this so that instead of moving from red through kind of a white to green, I want to use red all the way from the lower, say the rank 20 city up through maybe more of a medium red, and then into a bright red. And so I'm using this color because the larger population is going to be impacted. I feel like the red says, warning, warning, these are areas that have big impact, right? So now I can see that my color ramp has changed. I'm going from a light shade to a bright shade of red. And now I can see both the large circle and the very red circle are those larger populations. And you can see this Southeast Asia, a lot more large redder circles in that area, showing that the majority of the cities are in that region of the world, while you see a few others in other parts of the world. So that summarizes how to create a bubble map.